Hi, I'm Julio Sainz along with Mauricio Riveros. Today on Be Inspired, we'll meet Orlando Rivera, a community activist and business owner, and learn about his success.
You will be inspired.
Celebrating leaders in Rochester's unique and vibrant business community, we'll meet entrepreneurs whose passion and perseverance have helped push through life's challenges. Join us as we share their stories and journeys to success. It's time to be inspired.
Orlando, thank you very much for being in Be Inspired, a show that we have designed to inspire our community, to interview people like you who started business, they are passionate in different things, and today we want to learn more about Orlando. Tell us, who is Orlando?
Well, I'm a father, a friend, and a brother. I care about my community, and I love my family, and simple guy, just striving to get better every day, and hopefully that's happening.
Orlando, you have always inspired me, and see your life and see that you were able to overcome a lot of challenges and develop a business and involved with the community, the Hispanic community, but in the community in general. So tell us a little bit how your business started.
Obviously starting out new, it's difficult because you have to gain contacts, things like that. I really credit the Hispanic Business Association for my beginning in business. Just the general contacts allowed me to meet people, interact, find out how other business owners in the community were running their business. Just as an example, Al Burgos has been a great mentor for me. A lot of different people, Grace Tillingast, even you both as well. I've learned a lot. And I've progressed to be able to go out, talk to people, and gain that business, talk to them, develop relationships, with I think is very key in the business I'm in, any business for that matter.
And Al Burgos was a great mentor to me as well. Great guy from Burgos Income Tax. When did you decide that you wanted to work for yourself?
Oh wow! So I'll go back to a point where I was working for a nonprofit, and I decided that at that point I wanted control over my own schedule. I wanted to still be able to help people because I felt like I wasn't able to do it under those circumstances. So I went to a friend of mine. I coached his son, and he is a commercial realtor. And I asked him, I said, hey, how can I get in the business that you're in? And he just kind of looked at me, he goes, you don't want to be in this business. So I said, no, I'm really interested. Can you point me in the right direction? So he gave me his sister's contact information, and he said, okay, this is what you need to do. You need to go do this, and this is a company you're going to. I said, okay, all right. So I figured, guy's super successful in the business. He's been around, second generation in it. So I figured he knows what he's talking about. So I went ahead and went on that journey, and I've arrived to where I am today.
And I love that element of people who invest in others. And now you are doing the same thing. Tell us, how do you see the market? We have been in a very nice momentum, and houses selling very quick, great time for selling, tough time for buying.
Exactly.
But the question is how sustainable is this? How you see that being in the market?
So the United States in general, and I think a lot of people thought it was isolated just to Rochester, but the United States in general, for whatever reason, was experiencing a real estate boom. And Rochester, being a conservative market, for years didn't get the value that all its counterparts outside of were getting. And now all of a sudden, Rochester is a hot market. It was actually the hottest market, or one of the 14609 here in Rochester was in the top 5 zip codes in the country. So I think Rochester doesn't get its due for value, and I think we've actually undervalued a lot of neighborhoods for so long that we're so surprised that we're seeing this boom. But I believe the market's starting to turn slightly, and we'll probably see that as we move into the winter, that things will more than likely slow down in certain areas. Everything else will still remain hot, the hot spots in the city, because taxes are also, play into that, popular spots for people in the city. It's a central location, things like that.
So people are investing, buying houses. What are the key recommendations for people to always consider when they will go and buy a new house?
First thing is to get pre-approved. I think a lot of people forget when they go shopping that they need to have the proper monetary qualifications before going out and doing that. It's good to look, and I know the allure of Zillow, Realtor.com, and all those types of things that are out there. People want it now because we're in that instant gratification society. But it's best to sit down and speak with, someone at a bank or a finance company and find out what you qualify for, or if you need to work on your credit and what you qualify for as far as any programs or anything like that. I think it's key to find out those things first, and then also have a licensed professional walk you through the actual purchase process so you know what to expect, what the pitfalls could be. I always try to point those things out to people, even if they don't want to hear it, because that way later on in the process you can kind of point out that, I mentioned this, and that it could be an issue if we decided to go this route.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And what's your advice to people as far as how much they should spend on a home? Is your general rule of what, 3 times your annual salary is something I've heard mentioned?
Yeah, so we try to let, even though we're versed in what the mortgage loan officers do, we try to bring ourselves up to speed with everything like that. We allow them to do their job and qualify the person financially, and then relay the information to us via that pre-qualification letter. Yeah.
And that's very important. Now, selling, let's go in the other direction. Selling the house. What are the key things that people should put in consideration when they are deciding to go and sell a house?
I think really big is depersonalizing your home, because you want someone to be able to come in the house and imagine that it's theirs. It's got to be, some people are visual, and you have to be able to see where you could put things, what you could do with the house. And it doesn't help if you have pictures of yourself and your family there. It's tough for people to get an idea of what they could do with it. Decluttering is also key. I know a lot of people like to acquire things over the years, and they'll have things here, things there, and then it's difficult to get things in order to sell a house, and you have to figure out where I'm going to put this and where I'm going to put that, and you can't go into this room because I have these things. But those are the 2 key elements.
Real estate business is something that depends a lot on referrals and word of mouth.
Yes.
What are some tips you would give other business people who rely on that as far as how to get the word out, how to get their name out there?
I think talking to people on a daily basis, at least 5 to 10 people a day, and telling them what you do. Because obviously if no one knows what you do, there's no way they're going to refer you. I think just getting out there is the biggest thing, and that was key for me. The more people I felt saw my face, the more they associated me with what I did.
So what are some of the places you typically go to meet people?
So
network?
any networking event, Hispanic Business Association events, the Rochester Latino Rotary, any boards that I sat on. I just went out and about. Sometimes I would approach people in the stores, just in general, and my wife hates that. But as soon as I hear anyone talk about real estate, I say, "Oh, really? You want to sell your house? Oh, you're looking to buy?" And then that'll help ease into the conversation.
Yeah, it's all about relationships and building those connections that are fundamental. Now, people sometimes will go and buy a house to invest and rent. What's your opinion? What are the recommendations around that?
Investment property, I believe, is very difficult here because a lot of the property in the city here is owned by people that do not live here, and it's difficult to maintain. So I believe if you're going to be a landlord, I believe you should be dedicated to it with the proper upkeep and care about the people that are there, because they're paying rent to stay there. So it's important that I think that they understand what they're getting into as far as an investment is concerned. You want to look for something that's going to get you back a good yield within 5 years. And I use the gross rent multiplier typically, so that that purchase price that you're purchasing it for based on the rent over that period of 5 to 7 years, if you get that money back, then it's a good investment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Orlando. We'll be right back with more after these messages. And how does technology impact what you do? How has it changed your business in the last few years?
Oh, wow. It's been super helpful. It's definitely impacted our business. So obviously we're out and we're around and we're out of office quite a bit. Our phones are our mobile office. There's so many apps that they've designed so we're able to just go right ahead and let's say I have a client that's overseas or out of state. I can have them sign electronic documents just like that within a few minutes. The documents are at our fingertips by a phone. We can use obviously the G Suite has been really useful. Google Keep, Google Calendar, those things, been able to use those and it helps keep us on task and keep our lives organized appointment-wise. So for me.
Your job, as you mentioned before, is very connected with the community. And you are part of a great organization with the Rotary. So tell us a little bit about the Hispanic Rotary.
So we've been in existence for 10 years now. We just celebrated that 10-year anniversary this past year. Our motto is service above self. We focus mainly on helping in the Hispanic community, but anyone is welcome to join. We've started to branch out a little bit in working with other groups and organizations because we think that's important to diversify because everyone needs help. And it's just a matter of us reaching out to be able to give them the help they need.
And what do Rotarians do?
Everything. We seek to make the world a better place. And I think one of the ways we do so is, polio is a cause that we champion. I believe that will change in years to come. It may be cancer, it may be something else, but right now, polio is the cause we champion. We donate weekly to a polio fund, and then that money goes directly to Rotary International, and it allows us to, feel good about ourselves. And then also know that we're helping out in the community. We've done international projects. We've reached out to folks locally to do projects. An example, we just did a blood drive for the Red Cross. So we partnered with the City of Rochester, Hispanic Heritage Committee, and we did a blood drive. We did 10 units, and we had 13 people that volunteered to donate.
Orlando, I love how you have been so connected with the community, being part of also a business that you are growing now. Now the question I have is how you are now mentoring and giving to others. You need to work with teams, developing that. How you are doing? What we are doing around that?
So. As far as mentoring others that are in the business now or entering into the business in general, so I'll use my involvement with the mayor's Pillars of Hope program. So I was also someone that was mentored by a gentleman through Big Brother, Big Sister program at Baden Street. And he helped me see, he was a college student at the U of R. He helped me see life beyond where I was in the city. that there was a possibility that I could have a higher education, and there were so many things beyond that. And he saw, you know, my mom work hard, and he said, you know what, is it okay if I take him, you know, and give him a tour of the U of R? Is it okay if I take him and do this? He was like a father figure to me. And I wanted to give back in that regard, because he did so much for me and kept me on a straight and narrow path, and I thank him for it. And giving that same back, I mentored some kids in the 6th grade at School 54, Flower City School, and I enjoyed it so much that I'm trying to continue doing it this year. Just educating kids on, I think financial literacy is huge in our community, and I think the more knowledge that we can give to the kids about that, the more prepared they'll be in life, and the earlier we do it, the better. So.
Now you do a lot in the community with your business, your family, and everything else. You mentioned how your phone is your office on the go. For other business owners that are watching the show, what are some tips that you would give them for staying organized? Do you have a system, particular kind of apps that you use? What do you do?
Yeah, so Google Calendar is really huge, and I like to use the Voice, Google Voice, for my reminders, because day to day, so as soon as I make an appointment with someone, as soon as I get off the phone, I go straight to the phone and I say, okay, Google, make the appointment in the phone, and then set it so I don't have to worry about that, and then alert myself usually about an hour ahead so that I have time to get there, I'm prepared already, and then I can walk right in. Also Google Keep, because if I have, so obviously we need...
I'm not familiar with Google Keep.
So it's like, are you familiar with Evernote?
Yes.
So Google Keep is like Evernote, but only in the G Suite. Similar. And you can use it for reminders and also to keep things forever in a day. Never erase itself unless you wanted to. But I use it as a tool to remember combinations, codes, things like that. It helps keep me organized from that standpoint. I can put pictures in there, save pictures there, so I can recall any information I need throughout the day. All I got to do is hit that button and hit the light bulb, and I'm there.
What a wonderful, experience had been knowing you and actually working with you and interacting with you in many ways. Now, one thing that I like to always ask in this show is, how do you see the future of Rochester? Where are we going?
Our youth are our future.
Future.
And I feel like we need to get a hold of them now. Mentoring programs, I believe, are key, but I'd like to see mentoring programs in high school. And it should be people that are successful professionals mentoring children and preparing them for college, and then having conversations with them about possibly not being ready for college. Maybe they want to trade. Maybe they want to do something in that realm, like HVAC or carpenter, something like that, because not everybody is prepared for college. Not everybody wants to go to college. I believe you need to find your calling, but I think if we prepare them early and we walk them through step by step, they'll be ready, versus having them in school learning the same thing over again. I feel like the time gap is wasted there. So by the time they're actually going to graduate, they're not ready for school. But our future, I believe, is bright with the youth of Rochester, as long as we grab a hold of them now and show them the way.
So I want to hit you with one of our traditional questions. If you were on the cover of Time magazine, what would the headline say?
I've arrived.
Well, I'll hit you with the second one. If you could have dinner with anyone, living or deceased, who would that be and why?
That's an easy one. My mother. My mother. I miss her dearly. Single parent household, and she's the reason I was able to accomplish everything that I've done up to this point. She cleaned people's houses for a living and put us through private school. So there was no better role model from a work standpoint than her.
Fantastic.
Orlando, throughout this interview and through many years that I know you, you have always inspired me, and you are a great representation of what hardworking, passion and dedication, but also loving. You know, I found that you are a person who really love and care about others and others. And for that reason, I want to say thank you. Thank you in name of our Hispanic community. We have been involved in many events, in many initiatives through with Julio and others. And I think the element that is fundamental is to build up our organizations, build up our community, and really give back now that you are in a different stage. So thank you so much for that. And we want to end with a big hug, saying thank you for being part of the show today. And I am sure that we will see you very soon in the future program. Thank you.
Next week, we'll meet James Smith, a key executive at the YMCA. To watch today's episode and the complete interviews of our guests, go to rochesterfirst.com/be-inspired. For more great talk with Rochester's entrepreneurs, listen to Poder 97.1, Saturdays at 9 a.m. For Mauricio Riveros, I'm Julio Saenz. We'll see you next week on Be Inspired.